Thank you for staying with us. For today's first interview, we'll be speaking with Jude Patrick, who's the founder of Rootsyardd Dub Night Market. And we, want to speak to him about the wonderful space that is Rootsyardd, the community that has been able to be built with that, the culture that is spread, and, the sort of change that now has to take place. Jude, good morning. Thank you for being here with us.
Hi, Dominique. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. We're alive.
Okay, yes, there is that. And we're grateful for life this morning. So we want to take a couple step backs and, talk about Rootsyardd and the beginning of Rootsyardd, the origin. How did this all start?
Well, wow. Let's see. Rootsyardd is going to be 5 years this year.
Wow.
In May. We started off Rootsyardd, well-known Rootsyardd. My wife was one of the directors there at Organic. And on a Friday night, we'll be like, what to do, where to go, life-changing, consciousness rising a little more. So you're looking to find spaces that would give you that comfort.
Right.
And encourage, friends and families to come together. So we decided to actually start this movement at Rootsyardd.
Okay.
And in those days, we had like a couple vendors that will bring their stuff at the shop. For those that know New York Organic, like the soap makers, those who do little craft work, and we decided to bring them out in the night. And we really love rockers music, roots rockers music, and we decided to here's what we're going to build the system. Which is like an analog, old school boombox system.
Right.
And we're going to play records. And we contacted Black Charity International, and we decided, listen, we're going to start this, and we want him to be the sound to Rootsyardd. And from that night, I don't know, like a miracle happened, and Rootsyardd was born. And after that night, Sean Leonard, one of our real good friends, and somebody who we look up to, he was like, Jude, there is no way you all can have Rootsyardd here because it's going to be too small.
Right.
So I'm like, what to do? He said, yo, bro, you got to find a bigger place. And funny enough, he helped us. And then from there, we moved to at the corner of Newbold Street, not Newbold Street, sorry, St. Anne's Avenue in St. Anne's. That's right next to Chinese Association.
Right.
And we started off there, and we decided, here's what, we're not going to go with tents. We're going to go with wooden sheds, and we're going to have wooden tables, and we're going to have no meat, and we're going to do no hard liquor, and we're going to have kids come on, and it was really sounding like a dream.
Right.
Not being aligned because you're not part of the art society, or you just wanted to do something that is fresh and new, and all could join, and it started. And fast forward to now, we ended up at Theatre Workshop, I think about 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
Stacy, Lauren, for those that know Lauren, invited us to come there. He's like, listen, the market going to do good here, and we're like, we don't know how we're going to transform that space. Because for those who probably may have known the outside space, it was like, okay, how are we going to do this? And we really invested into the space, just to add to the visual arts of Trinidad Theatre Workshop.
Yes.
And lo and behold, it worked, Dominique.
Yes.
And we built a community, based on not having the backing of the corporate entity, not having the backing of the government backing, although we're in a space that is leased to Theatre Workshop by the government.
Right.
And we single-handedly did it with the help of God, obviously, through God. And we managed to get a lot of youth involved, and creatives and visionaries and artists and poets, you name it, from Trinidad and Tobago, topped with the night market, dirt open bread. It's a nice vibe.
Yes.
It's a really nice vibe. So five years later in May, this is where we are now.
Yes. And let's talk a bit about that community before we go into what's happening right now. That community that you've been able to build, and the persons that depend on or rely on this community. we have the vendors, we have the artists. So speak to that itself.
Well, I mean, it's 5 years in the business. What we've managed to do was really create the spaces, because this didn't start at theatre workshop. As I
Yes.
said, it started at Rootsyardd. Was really being able to switch the roles of a crafter to somebody who is actually an artist or a visionary. So what we've learned to is switch roles. What do I want if I was a vendor? I want a clean table. I don't want to pull a table out of a car because I might be rushing.
Yes.
I want to be able that even if I'm in a space that I'm inspired, if sales didn't go too good, how do we incorporate all of that together? That's not the crafters and their work. That's not the chef's work. That's not the customer work. That work is for us.
Yes.
And that's what we did. We take that very, very seriously with love. And we've managed to really cater not only for the customers, but we've really made it crafty-centric, easy for them to come in, just easy to relax. You have a chair, you have your table, you have good music, you have your light, you have your food. What else? I'm like, okay, what else all I want?
Yes,
What else we could do? So the eagerness to really build the community. We didn't wait on a government subvention. We didn't wait on the corporate to bring us paint. We went out and we got it, and we spent our money, and we did it, and we did it, and we continue to do it. So building that community was organic. Bringing the people together was organic, and the results could only be organic.
Yes.
And the community was built, and it's building, and it's expanded.
Yes. And I mean, speaking about the work,
that in a sense,
yes.
that in a sense, putting in the work has shown. If we didn't put in the work, definitely it would have not shown. It would not have shown
yes.
as it is today.
Yes. And speaking about the work that would have gone in, the community that was built, and the networking that has happened, at this point, for persons who may not know, as much as you can share, what is taking place with this space?
Well, to our knowledge, this is to our knowledge, and our knowledge is based on the information that we get.
Yes.
And this is the facts. We were told February, last month, I should say, that Mr. Albert, the director of PTW, got the lease from public admin, and one of the measures stipulated by them is they have to get rid of Rootsyardd so that they can get their lease renewed. So when we got the news, we were like, what? But how could that be an option? But however, these things, when these things happen, you have to take it with the information that is given from the people who you trust.
Right.
So there wasn't like, what madness is it? I was like, okay, so can we get an extra 3 months? Can we leave at the end of the year? What's going on? So I left it up to them, and Stacey, who's the second in charge after Mr. Albert, she called me. She's like, "Rude boy, our lawyer trying to get a little extra 3 months, but we can't. The government already said no. They wanted the sheds removed immediately." So I was like, okay, cool. We didn't break the news to our vendors or anybody else yet. We just kept it because we were like, okay, let's see how this goes. We have a couple more months.
Right.
If we need to start looking for space, it's fine. The idea was we're not leaving. The idea was like, okay, could we get a little extra time?
Right.
And it so happened last 2 weeks, they came and said that the government said to leave at the end of the month.
At the end of March.
March, yeah,
right.
Like today. So we're like, well, how the government could tell you all 3 months, and then, and this is all under public admin.
Right. And this is all word of mouth. This isn't like written, anything written.
Yeah, nothing was was done in writing, nothing was that. So we spoke to their lawyer. We like, listen, because like I said, Dominique, we live good. There's no issue. We pay a rental fee. We take care of the space. There were things that needed to be done just to highlight the space as much as we could do. We will do. So they gave us that. We had a meeting with them on Monday, and we gave them a letter stating, listen to me, guys, let's do this thing amicably.
Yes.
This end the month thing is not going to make sense. And even if we decide to break our sheds down, we want to do it with fun. We want to bring our community in. We want to, lo and behold, yesterday we went there just to check up on his space, water the plants, let's check things up, and we saw some Venezuelan guys breaking on the shelves.
So the stuff that you would have put up in within your space.
Yes, yes. These are the shelves that we built.
Right.
Our lights, the vendor tables, they were all packed up at the side. And when we went there, we saw Nigel, which is their lawyer, Lauren, Mr. Albert. We didn't see them until they were leaving.
Okay.
I saw Nigel. And they told us, well, we have to do what we have to do because the government gave us a mandate to get these stuff removed at the end of the month. But peaceful as we are,
yes,
we looked on, we made sure everything was okay, and we're here this morning, ready to go back down and see what's the next move with our stuff and how we move on from here. Because, like I said, Dominic, even though we knew that they had given us the 3 months,
right,
they just sprung the sun up with us within the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
And it's really now to explain to the community guys, well, this is what's going on, Yeah.
Yeah. Do you see there being a way where, some intervention could take place, Rootsyardd probably meeting with whether it's a ministry or anything of that nature? I mean, without saying too much,
Well, I mean, the thing is we don't have anything to hide.
Right.
So whatever I'm saying here is fact. We live good. We live good with Theatre Workshop. We don't know the people that live in the ministry. But I guess for us, it was simple. Start a project, fund your own project, do what you need to do, get it started,
yes,
make it into something that will be a little successful. And then you could probably go to the government and say, listen, folks, this is what we have.
Yeah.
So for us, intervention is always needed in anything. We've asked for intervention with them before, as in Theatre Workshop. We were hoping that we would all go together as a unit, which was discussed. We came to add to the visual art and everything else to Theatre Workshop. So like I said, Dominic, is really a surprise to us.
Yes.
We're not crying, we're not disobedient people. We obey the law. So for us, is okay. There needs to be some kind of truth into this, because even though you wanted this stuff moved,
yes,
give us a little time. Understand what it is. I mean, it's Easter time. People lining up to come out and make a little dollar. Like, we actually doing the opposite to what it is we want in Trinidad, and this is leadership.
Right.
And these are people that understand what culture is. I mean, these are people that come from humble beginnings. I'm sure 90% of the ministers, both in opposition and in government, really understand what these things are. There may be some who may not like galvanize, who may not like wood, who may think that, all right, certain parts in Trinidad and Tobago need to have certain things for people to like because they're in certain areas. But funny enough, all due respect to the people in and around the Marval and Sinclair area, they love Rootsyardd. I mean, and it's specifically in that area where you have all the ambassadors.
Yes, yes.
You have a lot of the more corporate families that living in that part of. They came to Rootsyardd every Saturday. They get their dirt over bread. They get the organic juices. They get their stuff. So even when they heard this was happening, they came out. They came out and support. They were like, yo, we don't want this to leave.
Yeah.
So I think basically what it is basically between Theatre Workshop and the government. As to who probably saw it fit to move it, or who wants it out. And these are how these things work in this part of the world.
Yeah. We're going to keep in touch with you in terms of how this develops. But for persons who are viewing right now and they want to lend support or give advice or come out, or they may have a space, how can they get on to you?
Well, I mean, our information is on Instagram. You can check us out at Rootsyardd, ROOTSYRDD. It's Rootsyardd with 2 Ds. They can check it out. Drop us a little line on Instagram. I think one of our numbers are there. Like I said, Dominic, this is not a sad thing.
Yeah.
This is something for us to build. This is something for us as the younger ones who's coming up, those who are late bloomers, those who could actually make a difference. You don't have to wait on the government. Some projects may take a little bigger than some. Start off small. What Rootsyardd has managed to do is really spark the inspiration and creativity for a lot of people in Trinidad. There's a lot more markets. there's a lot more quote unquote yard,
Yeah,
all over the
spaces,
place.
yes.
But I think for us is really keeping it in a space where we can have everybody in one space. That cosmopolitan look,
Yes.
that real Trinidad love and vibe that makes us one. Um, and we will continue to do that. We'll continue to sow them seeds, and we'll continue to build these spaces, and we're going to go into the communities, and we're going to do what we have to do.
Yes.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Thank you, Jude, so much for joining us this morning and giving us this information. As we said before, we would continue to check in with you as this develops. All the best to you and the team and the community that you have built. We take a short break.
Definitely.
Yes, we take a short break. When we come back, we still have lots more this morning. Stay with us.